got my Making Memories Slice Basic One design card, the Calibration disc, in the mail, and I thought I'd make a video on the recalibration to show the difference of the shapes, because I know a lot of people have had problems with the circles and the scallops coming out right. Let's cut out a shape. The circles especially, I know they come out a little wonky. So I have the disc in already. It's version 1.7. Select that. I've already honed my blade. And let's just cut out a circle. I've already cut out a few shapes already, so I cut out a 1 inch. We'll do a 1.5 inch this time. Alright. And it's pretty good, but it's not perfectly round. I cut these shapes out before. You know, the shapes, they're just off a bit. So now I'm going to go through the calibration. I'm going to put a piece of solid colored cardstock down. It says to home the blade. Go to settings, select, home the blade. Back to basic shapes. There's a little calibrate down at the bottom. And calibrate. Select. Alright, so now it's done. It has made a cutting pattern in the paper. Lines and curves. I'm going to try and make it so it's easier to see. I'll be right back. I've taken a white crayon and I've gone over it a little bit so you can see it better what it does. Makes numbers and lines, and on this side you have letters, and over here are the arcs. And while I was looking at it, it's kind of hard to tell which one is the best. So I figured out that on the lines, if you take a sheet of paper and cut it, I know this is my straight edge because I cut it directly from a piece of cardstock. And if you slip it in between the slits, you can see which one's the straightest. You can really tell that this one it is definitely not very straight. And I decided that number 3 for me. 1, 2, 3 down, which would be this one, seemed the straightest. Now for the curves, they were really hard to tell, but they're the exact same curve as a 1-inch circle. So if you have a 1-inch circle punch, I just punch this out and they fit perfectly behind there. And you can see this one, I can see a lot of white there. So that's not the best one. I keep going down. A little bit less white. That one's almost perfect. But for me, I decided that this one, this curve right here, that was letter D, that's perfect. So I ended up with D and 3 for mine. Bring the slice back in. Press the menu button 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. The home screen, go down to settings, to the home, double arrow press the double arrow twice. Radial backlash compensation, level 3. 3 is the one I chose, so I don't need to change that. I just press the double arrow one more time. Rotational backlash compensation, C. Now this one, I want it D, so I use the single arrow, change that to D. Then you just press the menu button, and then I'm going to cut out another shape. So just to be sure, I'm going to home the blade again. I'm going to do my new shapes in white so that I can really tell the difference when I cut them out. I'm going to start off with that 1.5 inch circle. And we'll see if it's any better. New one, old one. I have a 1.5 inch punch. These are my 2 punches, and this is the circle cut with the slice. I'm going to write S's on these so I don't get them mixed up. Slice, slice. Before, after. Still a little off. Really not that much. Alright, so there's the before. Here is the after. That makes it much easier to tell the difference. I may need to go in and change it a little bit. This edge just seems a little bit off, but as you can see, this one's more oval, whereas this one you can see it's more even around the edges. Might bring this in closer. Hopefully you can see that. So it definitely made a difference. Although it's still a little bit off, but I may need to just go back and adjust to a different setting. There was a couple of them that were almost the same. I might go back and change it to the E instead, because that one was very, very close too. Let me do that, and I'll cut out another circle and we'll see. I went back into the settings and I recalibrated it again, this time putting it to the E, and cut it out, and I like it better. It still has a little bit of rough edges, but it's definitely better than D. And there's a huge difference between that one and the original one. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the rest of the shapes now that I had cut out earlier and see the difference. Here are my results. These white ones here are the new ones. The blue ones are the original. There isn't much of a difference for me, but I definitely can tell a difference. Like over here on these scallops, this one looks better. The circle, you can definitely tell is a little more rounded. The middle circle on this, definitely more round. And this A here, I think it looks a little bit better. Now everybody's slice is different, so you might get better results than I did. You might not even have to change yours. I just think it was really great that making memories sent everybody the basic one design card, the calibration one.